Okay, I think we are live, and I am really glad to be here with you because I want to talk about not just the vagus nerve. I love the vagus nerve and it is amazing, but I want to talk about the way the vagus nerve really helps you align your life purpose, activate your soul purpose, or the way the vagus nerve actually inhibits that. So that is what I am wanting us to chat about. And I'm just going to leave it a few more seconds. I see so many of you coming in, which is awesome. And I'm going to be really inviting your questions on the vagus nerve as well. And I know I won't get to answer them all, but I am looking forward to bringing forward some understandings to kind of evolve around our understanding that the vagus nerve is more body-based. It's an amazing connection. It really is one of a triad that activates mind, body, soul. So it's exciting. All right. So I hope you've got a drink with you because I will be sipping my tea throughout this. I see lots of you coming in, so that is wonderful. Hello, hello, hello. All right. And I know a couple of you have already put in questions, sent them in via Facebook or through email as well. So we'll be looking at them as well. All right. So I hope that your day has been good. And I'm aware that for many of us right now, as we sit here in February, that there's quite a lot of intensity around. So I wanted to start just with a grounding exercise, and of course an exercise that really helps your vagus nerve. And it's my favorite vagus nerve exercise. There's a lot you'll know if you've done any of my courses or used any of my online videos, that I'll do something around the face, the throat, this amazing point that's right behind the earlobe. Amazing for helping the vagus nerve come into, it's like it helps it take a breath. So I'm going to be explaining all of that, and of course the chest as well. But I want us to do an exercise right here, right now, so that actually as we talk forward from this point, we are all in that happier, grounded, more expansive and joyful place. So let's start. You're going to take whichever hand you naturally want to, and you're just going to place it on the throat. And for some of you, it will feel really lovely. I'm going to switch actually so I don't block my mic. It will feel really lovely just resting the heel of your hand or the side of your forearm on your chest, and then having your hand just open, soft, gentle on the throat. For others, it will feel better if you drop your chin down just gently and almost place your chin into that place in between the thumb and the first finger. And from that place, you can still have your forearm just touching the chest if it's easy for you. So you're really just allowing your head to drop. That in itself is an amazing, amazing way to send signals through the vagus nerve into the brain, into the body to say, oh, we can actually pause. We can rest for a moment. Now, I would add to that, I always reckon we've got two hands, so let's use them to connect things. But just this, let's say you're tucked up in bed, you've got one hand under the pillow, the other one could just be resting here. And that will already be helping that amazing vagal tone. But come into this, and then let's bring your other hand onto the top of your head. We're working with very, very powerful points here, not just the crown chakra, but we're working with end points, or rather portal points into meridians that allow us to drop down, become more connected through the heart and the brain. And I'm going to invite you just to take a breath here. No matter what your day has brought you so far, whether it's been ease and peace and joy, or stress and challenge and tension, Just recognize that right here, right now, you're giving yourself an amazing gift. The gift of connection, the gift of nourishment, the gift of just maybe putting yourself first on your to-do list. And there needs to be no pressure on either of these two, just however feels most easy, most connected, most nourishing for you. And allow your breath to come in a little deeper, a little more full, which will actually be a natural progression anyway, because as we hold these points to really relax and connect that vagal nerve, then your diaphragm begins to relax as well. All right, so that feels good. Feels great that we had that little touch base together. So I know that there will already be some questions in, yes, but I tell you what, I want to talk about what I want to talk about with the vagus nerve for a little while, because I love that it's coming into more awareness now. The last few years, the last 2 decades especially, but the last few years, we've had a leap in consciousness around what the vagus nerve does. And that's amazing, because the way I see the energy of the vagus nerve, the purpose, the connection, the physicality of the vagus nerve, is that it forms a really exquisite triad. And that triad is the body, which is the vagus nerve, the mind, which is the way the vagus nerve, and one of your extraordinary channels. You may know it as the penetrating flow. I call it the vital vessel, which would be the older Chinese name for this amazing flow that comes from deep inside you and connects lots with the body. So the vagus nerve being the body, the vital vessel being the body mind, and then your energetic core being the soul. Mind, body, soul, all working together, all aligning. If they are aligning, yeah, if there's big stresses, if there's places that they can't connect, then every one of them begins to be a little more compromised. So how do we get that alignment? That's what I'm really excited to share. Next week, I'm teaching on that axis, this three-way movement between them. So I'm really excited to bring those understandings forward, because for me, this year is all about how to help you align with your soul purpose, with your life purpose. What is it that you're here to do? What is it that lights you up? What is it that shines your beauty, your immensity, your beingness? What is it that shines that out into the world, and why? What's it doing? So I'm really excited to be bringing this all forward. And in a way, it starts with the vagus nerve, because we're probably aware that the vagus nerve really, it's such a key way that our parasympathetic nervous system gets activated in the body. And the parasympathetic nervous system is the part of your nervous system that helps you relax, helps you know safety in every part of your body. And from that place of relaxation, then actually space comes in. And when it comes to the prerequisite for every single part of healing, of connection, of activation of soul purpose, then space in your energy field is the most important. Space and groundedness, but actually you can't have one without the other. So they're the most important. So the information that flows through that vagus nerve can either encourage that space or bring everything really taut. It's amazing when I look at a vagus nerve that's actually holding itself really taut. I was thinking about how to describe it to you. And the image that came to mind was really one of a violin string that's been wound that little bit too tight. And as the violinist is playing, that string vibrates slightly out of resonance, slightly off tone. That's the same as your vagus nerve. And of course, the danger is that when that bow puts that string under any stress, it snaps. Now, there's no way your vagus nerve is going to snap, but the flow of energy through it gets really impaired. And I'm sure you are very, very familiar with the fact that you can't be in your place of growth, of expansion, of connection, and be in your place of constriction or stress or protection. It's just not possible in your energy field to hold both of those. Your system has to make a choice. Which one is actually how your whole life can be expressed at this moment? And the ideal, when you have your vagus nerve in that place of real connection between the vital vessel, the energetic core, and the vagus nerve, then actually, wow, 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 wow. Not to say you won't ever experience stress, but your resiliency is massive. Really, really massive. Today I was, things were beginning to suddenly, there was all kinds of stresses and problems that were coming in, silly little things that I had to respond to. My son had taken the car key hundreds of miles away and I needed to drive the car, and, lots of things that were coming in. And I was aware in my body system, there was suddenly a choice. Do we move into space around this stress, or do we move into stress, into tightness around this stress? And that was a choice that the vagus nerve is directly involved in. And we all know that place, don't we? When things are suddenly, internally, we feel them tighten and tighten. And if we're aware of them, we can immediately say, I'm getting stressed. What can I do? Breath is one of the first things that many of us will turn to. I'm just going to breathe out. I'm going to recognize that right now this is a tension. But what you're doing in that situation is actually activating this place between the vagus nerve, especially the vagus nerve, and the vital vessel, to say, let's reframe it. Let's create space around it. And from there, choices come forward, resiliency, humor. Humor gets activated again. One of the most amazing things for that access inside is humor. All right, so I think I want to have a look at some of the questions that are coming in. So let me pull them up. All right. Okay. What have we got? And feel free, pop your questions in the comments so I can see them. All right. So Dina, you're asking, if you're not fulfilling your soul's purpose, is this something that could interfere with the connection to the vagus nerve permanently? If so, and for whatever reason you can't fulfill your soul's purpose, what could you do to support the vagus nerve? All right. I want to Dina, I love that question, but I want to flip it a little bit. You're always, always walking your soul path. Yeah. From the second you take that first breath, maybe even before, you are walking, you're moving along your soul's path, even at the times you feel most removed from the awareness of it, even at the times when you feel so far away from doing what you're really here to do. That's still your soul's path. So if you're in a place right now and you feel, I know I'm here for more. I think that's one of the really big things that would come up in my clinical practice. It's just like, I know I'm not quite doing what I'm here to do. There's just this underlying sense of dissatisfaction. And that may be, you've got a brilliant job, you've got a brilliant family, your health is good. And yet you get this sense that there's more. There's more of you that hasn't yet been lived into. There's more of you. Your place in the world is still not being fully claimed by yourself. So, is that to do with the vagus nerve? Yes, but not on itself, not by itself, not on its own. The vagus nerve has this amazing connection into the vital vessel. And that's what I would be really, really working with, bringing in greater harmony, because then you'll find that your soul's purpose, your life purpose, begins to emanate through everything that you're doing. And maybe in your daily life, nothing has changed on paper. Someone looking at you would say, oh yeah, she's still or he's still doing this and this and this and this. But your relationship inside, your relationship with absolutely everything that you are doing has changed. It's on a fundamentally different foundation, because that foundation is bringing forward all of that juiciness from your energetic core, from your soul purpose. It's really beginning to flow it forward, so that maybe today what you're doing is taking the kids to school, picking the kids up from school, looking after your baby at home. Maybe today is you going into the office, working in a big board meeting, coming back. Doesn't matter what you're doing when you're knowing that you're shining your energy through everything you're doing. Then you know that by simply bringing in these changes to your energy, you're changing the world. You're changing everything about your life. And in doing so, those ripples move out and change so much else around you, and not just around you. Those ripples go very, very far in that web of life. All right, let's have a look. Da, da, da. Love coach. I like that name. Nicole, you're saying, can you do these vagus nerve exercises with a fibroid? Absolutely. Anytime you're working with the energetics, then it's really beautiful to bring deeper and deeper alignment. One of the things I think that's really important to say is that your healthcare, so everything physical, including fibroids, your healthcare is soul care. Your soul care is healthcare. There's no division between that. I think that's something that we've kind of got 2,000 years to deprogram in ourselves, haven't we? This feeling that somehow body, mind, soul, somehow they don't quite hang together. They totally do. And the way they hang together is through your amazing wholeness, which is your energy field. Your energy fields are these amazing fields of consciousness that bring that sort of amazing template for your entire being forward. So absolutely beautiful to do any of these exercises with working with the fibroid, because it's all going to be aligning you deeper and deeper so that your physicality can catch up with that. Your physicality can come on board with like, woohoo, here we are in the world and we are fully engaging. That's a huge difference for your life force, your electromagnetic energy that moves through your body, as well as your subtle energy. And when that's vital, when it's packed with vitality because you're in alignment with your soul essence, wow, your physicality jumps on board with that. All right. Let's have a look. Something that I can't even pronounce. Chocolate muffin. You're asking, I've read about the correlation of the vagus nerve and trauma. Is it possible that the vagus nerve is so out of whack that it can't be repaired? I am so glad that you are bringing that up. Absolutely, definitely. I'm going to say absolutely again. No, that is not the case. There is never something in your physicality that can't be repaired by really helping that energy flow through it. Even in the instance of something being permanently cut. Actually, I'm going to get to a question in a minute that you talk about your vagus nerve was severed. That energy. So even when the physicality of something is cut, and in trauma, it's not, yeah? Trauma are energetic patterns programmed deeply into the body system. So for me, there's two ways to work with trauma. There's a million ways to work with trauma, but they fall into two different camps. You identify the trauma and you start working to clear it all of the way through the layers of everything that you are. Or, and this is my preferred way, you activate the deep energy systems that always hold balance. You activate your energetic core. You activate your template of health. And from that place of deep activation, your biophotons of light, your amazing programs of health, of expansiveness, of connection, that live in that place of your energetic core, they emanate, they radiate from the core through everything that you are, and they begin to connect and heal those patterns that are currently holding habits of trauma. So most of us, when we're working to resolve trauma, work with both of those approaches, don't we? But we can get so tempted. It's so great to have structure around trauma that we start walking this really dogged path of solving layer after layer after layer after layer. And there's benefit to that. But for me, the magic of resolving trauma is only ever a very small step away from being able to be resolved. And that small step is how we can align our deeper energies through that traumatic experience or traumatic pathway or traumatic imprint. So I really want us to hold that when it gets to something like working with the vagus nerve. If we just work with the nerve itself, if we just work with the nerve to resolve trauma, it can carry it so far. But I think I'm really grateful for this question because it helps me understand and explain more. But when we think of the way that this amazing vital vessel, this penetrating flow that taps straight into your energetic core and carries it out through all of your chakras, through many of your meridians, through the energetic pathways of health, that actually as that's flowing out of you, it can inform your vagus nerve, that in turn informs your parasympathetic nervous system. So we're not trying to affect parasympathetic into vagus, into vital, into energetic core. That's a slow pathway. It's okay, it works, but it's slow. That's months, years. What we're also trying to do, and we do very effectively, is work with the energetic core to shine that energy out through the vital vessel, light up all of your systems, through the meridians, through the chakras, through the nerves, which hold so much coding for health, for profound levels of communication. So that's what I'm really excited about. That's what I want to be sharing much more information about. The way that we can work with our energetic consciousness to actually transform these patterns much, much quicker. And in places of dissolving those patterns, you know, there's a concept that we have to battle, isn't there? A concept that we have to battle to achieve things, that we have to fight other people, we have to dominate in some way. This place of power over other things. That's so hardwired in our cultural thinking. And actually, nothing in your energy system is wired like that. Nothing at all. Everything that you are energetically, which therefore means everything that you are hormonally, chemically, neurologically, physically, everything is designed to move into support, to balance, to maintain health, to maintain soul expression. So my big question is, how do we activate that that's where the energetic core and the vital vessel and the vagus nerve becomes so important. All right, let's find another question here. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm aware that we're getting... Oh, Sue, you're asking a question that's very close to my heart. What's the relationship between the vagus nerve and your heart? Oh, what a great question. It's a really key part of this amazing heart system that you have. So that's kind of a question that leads to a lot more questions. If I wrap it up, we have the heart system. And energetically, you have the heart chakra there. You have your amazing, amazing assemblage point, this place of activating bringing your soul expression out into the world. That all comes from the heart center. You've got the heart protector, really, really key. Vagus nerve and heart protector have an amazing relationship, and they do so through the vagus nerve partly. There's other connections as well, but seeing as we're talking about vagus nerve, let's stay there. The vagus nerve comes down, so it activates from that point, or it begins to flow just behind your earlobe. It comes down and it goes down into this amazing, amazing heart center place. From there, it spreads into the heart, into the lungs. It connects into the heart protector, the pericardium. So it has everything to do with the heart, with the parasympathetic, with that place of expansion, expression through the heart field. The vagus nerve has everything to do with that, because connection or protection, that's a bit of a generalization. That's a bit of a rough division to make, but I'm going to use it here. So the vagus nerve is going to allow you to connect in beautiful, safe ways, or it's going to protect and lock things down. When the vagus nerve gets taut, then actually your sympathetic nervous system comes on board instead. It starts ramping things up for you, making you more aware, pushing you more towards the potential for fight, flight, freeze. So the heart energy has everything to do with that place of, oh, wow, what's next in my life? What's next in my day? What's next in my thoughts? Choice and consciousness. That's what the vagus nerve can really help bring in when it's in relation with the vital vessel and the core. All right, I'm aware we're getting close to time, but I'm also loving this discussion. Oh, Izzy, you're asking, how about getting old? What can we do in our 70s to keep this functioning tip-top? You know what? Some of the most amazing, amazing vagus nerve tone that I see is in older people, 70, 80. And the reason is because there's as we get older, and if you're anything more than 30 right now, you know exactly what I mean. As we get older, we begin to drop things that no longer are important for our soul expression. Suddenly, it doesn't really matter if we have wrinkles, even though the advertising companies would have us really feel that it matters. It doesn't matter if we do things that perhaps in our 20s or 30s would have been horrified at the thought of doing. We begin to understand and feel that actually our reason for being here means that we're okay to move away from some of that real ego-based consciousness. We're okay to take a few risks. We're okay to actually say, this is me, warts and all, saggy bits, ugly bits, gorgeous bits, confidence bits, vulnerable bits. This is me. Yeah, and I'm okay with that. And as we do that, then that place of the vital vessel, the penetrating flow, begins to radiate more and more strongly. And you're able to shine more of yourself, gently, beautifully, powerfully, whatever your way is, into your day. And so when that happens, as we get older and we get more and more able to be ourselves, then the vagus nerve gets more and more radiant. It becomes a really gorgeous silver color. Often that vagus nerve, or it can have all kinds of colors running through it actually. I'm talking energetically now, of course. But when I look at it, it can be really across the spectrum of colors, although often we'll have the deeper hues through it, deeper hues or silvery goldy, depending on really what's firing through it. But as we get older, then it becomes more and more in its amazing silver aspect, kind of like it's channeling some stardust in there. So to answer your question directly, Izzy, how do you keep it functioning tip-top? The most simple answer to that is be you. Just be you. Allow whoever you really are to shine forward more. And of course, I could tell you 20 exercises that can help keep the vagus nerve in its great relationship with the vital vessel. I will be sharing that in my class next week, but essentially be you. And the exercise I shared at the start of this session is a brilliant way just to really connect. All right, I'm going to take one more question and then I want to show you one more thing about the exercise, a way that you can deepen it even more. Okay. So many great questions. These are great. I'm going to pick some more of these questions up at other times as well. Okay. Okay, so that's interesting. The question about migraines. Migraines and vagus nerve are really, really linked. So Pam, your question is, would this exercise, would working with the vagus nerve help prevent migraines? Very, very much so. The thing with migraines is as they build, that's when we want to do the energetic work. Once they're in full flow, then there are definitely techniques that you can use, but the vagus nerve helps maintain the communication between head and body, head and all of your other organs. So it's really, really beautiful way. Let me show you very quickly. I know that migraines is something that so many people work with. I'm going to show you my really favorite, amazing. When you feel that migraine beginning to build in you, working with the vagus nerve then is amazing for just, wow, moving it through the body. So what do? You are going to take your, let me feel it here. Yes, you're going to take your ring fingers and you're going to pop them right. Actually, they're on the first point of the bladder meridian, which is on the side of the eye, but on the side of the nose. So I think you can see easily there. I'm not actually touching my eye, but I'm in against the nose. So you're going to take your ring finger there. I haven't talked this one through before. You're going to put your first finger on the edge of the eyebrow, through the temple, and just down the side of the face. Yeah. And you can, if it's easy for you, you can just bring your hands together at the bottom of your face, and you're going to allow your middle finger to rest sort of towards the middle of the eyebrow. It doesn't have to be anywhere specific, that one. Okay, so from here, if you can, then bring your elbows or your forearms together. You're immediately activating places all through the energetic core, the chakras. You're encouraging the vagus nerve through the throat to find its balance, to come in more, to start communicating more. This is such a beautiful one. Even if you don't work with migraines, do this one with me now, because it's such a powerful, grounding, settling, head-heart connecting. All right, so you might find that that's enough. But in my experience with migraines, when they come on thick and strong, or when you suddenly get to that point when you think, oh my goodness, I've got a migraine coming, do this. Take a few breaths here, and then pop your thumb, keep the other fingers, but I'm going to show you. You're going to put your thumb right in that point behind the earlobe. And if it's possible for you, you're going to drop your little fingers down. I know this is complex, but my goodness, it's worth it. You're going to drop your little fingers down so that they're on that point just over the flare of the nose. Okay, so they're actually just onto the cheekbones there. All right, so we've got 3 fingers curving up and over from the inner eye to the outer eye. We've got the thumbs tucked in behind the earlobe, and we've got the little fingers either side of the nostrils. And for your arms, your elbows, just be comfortable. If they're together and resting on your chest, great. If they're apart, resting on the table, it doesn't matter. And from here, you're just going to put whatever pressure feels good into each of these points. And they might be very, very different. And if you're working with a migraine that's coming, it's very, very likely that these inside the eyes and on top of the eyebrows will be quite sore. So sometimes when points are really talking like that, then being a little bit deeper of pressure in feels wonderful. And sometimes it just feels really horrible. So in which case, back out from them. And hold that for as long as you need to. What you'll feel is that as you're working on those points, on those connections, you're connecting up so much. You're really working with many different meridians there, with the vagus nerve itself. Oh, it's an amazing one for bringing things into the center of alignment in your body system. What you'll feel as you're working on them is almost a little bit of pressure as things start moving, and then they're in alignment and they'll flow. And from that point, that building pressure, that migraine can really move out of your body system. Really powerful, really beautiful exercise. Also great if you don't experience migraines, but you feel that pressure. Yeah, at a time when you're like, oh, I'm almost at that point of overwhelm. I'm almost at that point of blowing a fuse. That exercise, wow, brings everything in so it can move through your central systems much, much more fully. Cool. Didn't know I'd be getting to share that one here today. All right, I know there are so many questions. One of the things we're doing is when questions come in, we're popping them all on a sheet, and over time I will try and address some of the big themes that the questions pull up, either in these sort of webinars or Ask Me Anythings. So please, if you've asked a question here today and I haven't got to it, then know that my intention is that I will continue to work through a few to bring themes out. So awesome. I've loved sharing this information, and thanks for your brilliant questions. The vagus nerve, it's really alive right now, isn't it? It's a real kind of, as far as it being something that's helping us all evolve, awareness of the vagus nerve is right up there, which is brilliant. So next week, I'm teaching about that access. Please sign up to my newsletter on my website, pruneharris.com, and I'll be sharing much more information about the vagus nerve and the assemblage point, because when that axis begins to be in line, then your assemblage point, this amazing place of how your whole being perceives and gets expressed in the world. That's the assemblage point. So I'm teaching 2 classes in March about that, and it's all part of this soul alignment program. I know that our souls are just ready to have that leap forward in expression individually, so that, wow, that collective consciousness field can also leap up. We are all up to it. We are all ready for it. All right. Much love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really happy to share this and have this beautiful time with you. All right. Lots of love. Bye-bye.